Humans love to hate. We love to hate because it makes us feel good, and even better when that hate is justified. No one likes a cocky fighter, and seeing one get finished in the octagon is one of the most satisfying experiences for any MMA fan. So today, we'll be looking at those moments where showboating goes horribly wrong. Is the infinitely unfunny and corny Colby Covington. In the lead up to his first fight against the welterweight champ, Kamaru Usman, Covington went on endless tirades against Usman, accusing him of abusing PEDs, bringing up his then incarcerated father.
Is your daddy the jailbird coming on Saturday night? I gotta hook up with law enforcement. If you want me to call his parole officer, I'll make sure he can come on Saturday night.
And even going as far as to mention the deceased Glenn Robinson, a founder of the Black Zillions team Usman was a part of, claiming that Usman gave the man a heart attack.
I know you gave Glenn a heart attack for all those years you were ducking me, so don't worry, he'll be watching from hell on December 14th.
Come fight night, both men put their grit and heart on full display, giving us one of the greatest fights of all time. They fought neck and neck throughout the first 2 rounds. However, in a poetic turn of events, Usman shattered Covington's jaw with a monster of a right hand. Covington returned with a vengeance in the 4th round and won the round on the judges' scorecards. The Warriors were 2-2 going into the 5th. Still, Usman managed to break Covington by applying relenting pressure and refusing to back down, winning by a referee stoppage and gaining the respect of all fans around the world for shutting Colby up. Regardless, this is one of those rare cases where a cocky fighter manages to perform impressively, and Covington, surprisingly, gained a new wave of fans after this fight. TJ Dillashaw is only the 2nd man to become a 2-time bantamweight champion, and is regarded as one of the best bantamweights of all time. After beating Cody Garbrandt twice at bantamweight, he decided it was time to go for double champ status, and forever be remembered as one of the greatest. Instead of going up to a weight class, he went down to flyweight to challenge Henry Cejudo for the belt. Throughout the build-up of the fight, both men traded insults and brought attention to the underappreciated flyweight division.
I'll take that belt. He's been begging me to take that belt off his shoulder. It's too much weight for him.
You know what? Bring him down. Bring him down. I want to defend my title, and then after that, I'm going to get my rematch, and then I'm going to take your belt.
Furthermore, TJ seemed to be underestimated by Cejudo, thinking his size advantage and advanced footwork would dethrone the king of cringe. However, many were skeptical that Dillashaw could even make weight due to his size. And as UFC commentator Joe Rogan pointed out, he looked like a dead man walking. Regardless, Dillashaw made weight, and all that was left was the fight. All of Dillashaw's work was in vain, as the fight ended in the first minute of the first round. The stoppage stirred some controversy as TJ argued that it was too early, and his tough weight to cut weakened his chin.
And I pushed my body to the extreme. 6 weeks out, my body started to crash, it started to get tight.
Things went bad to worse when he tested positive for EPO a day after the fight, resulting in a 2-year suspension.
Let's start off. First and foremost, I cheated. Look, this is it. I did it. I want to be upfront with you guys.
His reputation was nearly ruined, and nowadays, many fans question whether he used PEDs throughout the rest of his career, and wonder if his legendary bantamweight run was even legitimate. From receiving a beating to giving one, it's safe to say that TJ Dillashaw experienced the highs and lows of MMA. In 2017, TJ Dillashaw and Cody Garbrandt were set on a collision course for the World's Bantamweight Championship. They hosted a season of the reality television show The Ultimate Fighter, which only worsened their animosity towards each other. Most of their hatred stems from Dillashaw leaving Team Alpha Male for Elevation Fight Team to be with Dwayne Ludwig. But favor helped make TJ the champion he was. He seemingly left after finding success. Garbrandt, a member of Team Alpha Male, felt betrayed and referred to TJ as a snake throughout interviews and press conferences.
But as time went on, I got to know TJ as a person. It wasn't the case. It was just that he's a dickhead.
Garbrandt even hurled accusations of PED use at TJ and alleged that he injured Chris Holdsworth, a former teammate, with a cheap shot during the Team Alpha Male training session that left Holdsworth with a concussion.
TJ was the fact that he'd taken some special supplements.
Oh yeah, the guy's on everything.
Yeah.
He's on everything.
The fight was explosive from the start. Both athletes skipped any feeling out process and went straight to throwing bombs. Garbrandt's speed and athleticism got the better of Dillashaw in the first round, dropping him and nearly ending the fight right then and there. However, the round suddenly ended as the bell rang throughout the arena. The champion entered the second round with a boost in confidence, jawing the challenger and showboating whenever TJ missed any punches. Dillashaw, however, remained composed and knocked Cody down twice, following up the second knockdown with some brutal ground and pound, which resulted in a referee stoppage. TJ regained his bantamweight crown, and Cody received the first loss of his professional MMA career. Unfortunately, Cody was never the same after this fight, going 1-4 with 3 of his losses being stoppages, and his failed attempt at dropping down to flyweight. It is unclear where the future of his career lies. Anderson Silva is perhaps one of the greatest, if not the greatest, mixed martial artists of all time. He is well known for his elite striking and brutal finishes. His 16-fight win streak is legendary, and Silva made otherwise great fighters look like fools. However, Anderson Silva's toughest fight came at the hands of the American Chael Sonnen. During the first match, Sonnen nearly wrestled his way to victory before being submitted in the last 2 minutes of the 5th round. Sonnen's trash talk before the highly anticipated rematch only brought more attention to the fight. Silva seemed unfazed by the insults.
Anderson Silva, you absolutely suck! Super Bowl weekend, the biggest rematch in the history of the business. I'm calling you out, Silva, but we're up in the stakes. I beat you. You leave the division. You beat me. I will leave the UFC forever.
The fight started in Sonnen's favor, using his wrestling background to neutralize Silva's striking. The rematch seemed to be in the same direction as the first fight. Then, out of nowhere, Chael attempted an ill-fated spinning back fist, resulting in him losing balance and allowing Silva to land a flurry of punches, resulting in a referee stoppage. Next on the list is one of MMA's biggest upsets. The fight was for the women's bantamweight title, with Ronda Rousey against Holly Holm, also known as the Preacher's Daughter. Ronda Rousey was riding a 12-fight win streak, with a 100% finish rate before her bout with Holly Holm. She was rightfully seen as the greatest female MMA fighter of all time, and saw Holly Holm as just another win in her record. Rousey tried intimidating Holm during the face-off, but the challenger maintained her composure. Holm put on a striking masterclass, pummeling her face for over a round and even talking down to her at one point, proving that she is the better mixed martial artist. Rousey never regained her title, losing her next fight to Amanda Nunes and then retiring. The build-up to Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz was bombastic to say the least. The MMA legends gave us some of the most entertaining press conferences of all time, with the Irishman riding high after defeating Jose Aldo for the featherweight title with a stunning 13-second knockout, and Diaz coming off an impressive win over the top contender in Michael Johnson. The fighters' teams got into several confrontations during face-offs and press conferences. The Mystic Mac predicted a knockout within the first round, but things didn't go his way. Nate Diaz's legendary durability was on full display as he shrugged off most of Conor's shots. Jumping up 2 weight classes must have affected Conor's cardio, as the man was visibly out of breath by the second round. After being tagged a couple of times by the Stockton native, he attempts a takedown of desperation. However, Nate sprawls and takes Conor's back, proceeding to finish the fight with a rear naked choke. Nate Diaz's mind-blowing win and iconic "I'm not surprised" post-fight interview catapulted him into the mainstream and turned him into one of the sport's biggest draws overnight.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Next, we have Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. Costa was undefeated and on a 13-fight win streak, with 11 of his fights ending by knockout. Most of his opponents folded under his brute strength and aggressive fighting style. The Brazilian talked tons of trash leading up to the fight, and even showed up with a white belt at the face-offs to mock the champ. Many fans expected this fight to be what Adesanya and Romero wasn't, but it wasn't. From round 1, Costa began showboating by sticking his tongue, putting his hands behind his back, and pretending to be wobbled. It's unclear whether or not this was an attempt to get into Izzy's head. Regardless, the champion remained focused and sliced Costa's legs with lightning-fast kicks, immobilizing him. Israel decided to turn up the heat during the second round, putting together longer and more violent combinations. Costa was no longer showboating. After landing a laser-accurate left hook to the temple, Costa was knocked down and finished via vicious ground and pound. Costa infamously stated that his lackluster performance was due to drinking a whole bottle of wine before the fight in hopes of treating a muscle cramp. The penultimate item on this list is Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal 2 for the welterweight championship. After their dull first fight, few people clamored to see a rematch. However, the East Coast gangster demanded one, as he believed that with a full training camp, Usman wouldn't stand a chance.
Another picture-perfect moment coming up, courtesy of Usman's face. Can't wait. I'm gonna break those bones in your face like a fucking chicken wing.
Face-offs between the two were intense, and many thought Jorge's seemingly superior striking skills would better Usman. Ironically, Jorge was the one to get knocked out in one of the best UFC finishes of all time. Nevertheless, Usman showed the world who the best welterweight on planet Earth is. Last but not least, we have Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov. The biggest MMA fight of all time had its fair share of controversy. Tension started building after the Russians slapped one of McGregor's teammates, Artem Lobov. 2 days later, following a media event, McGregor and his entourage discovered Nurmagomedov and his manager on a bus, shared with several other fighters. When Nurmagomedov refused to exit the vehicle, McGregor responded by launching a dolly at the bus and breaking a window, injuring 2 fighters. The Irishman only received 5 days of community service for his actions, many viewing it as a slap on the wrist. This is one of the few sports rivalries that genuinely seemed personal. Conor erupted into angry rants and raves every time the fighters met, leaving no stones unturned, insulting Khabib's manager, religion, and even his family.
The last fight,
like,
I don't drink.
Why don't you drink?
I don't drink.
Why don't you drink?
I never drink.
I'll tell you, some booze at parties.
I never drink.
You're mad backwards. Sure, I appreciate that. Assalamu alaikum alada. Assalamu alaikum alada. His own countrymen, his own people that he's turned his back on. They want to see him gone too, and I am going to do it in the name of the Russian people.
Everybody knew that Khabib's ground game was superior, but they didn't expect that he could beat one of the best strikers in UFC. With strikes on feet, landing a nasty right hand in the second round, and knocking Conor down. The rest of the fight was a one-sided beating. After tiring McGregor with never-ending ground and pound, the wrestler climbed on his back and forced him to tap with a fulcrum choke. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to let us know by leaving a like and subscribing to our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.